time, and exactly the same play. There's a good shot of
touchdown, Wellesley.
Touchdown by Drew Kelton. A real fine shot of Kevin Reel out there leading the way. No flags on the coaching staff as well.
It appears Wellesley has the ball. Fumble on the play there by number 33, Matt Miller. And McGovern has 6 carries for 12 yards. And there's the kickoff. And it's taken there by number 33, Drew Kelton. And he gets the ball well up past the 50-yard line, down into Needham territory. McGovern in motion. Time he drops back to throw. Intercepted.
Aaron
Timed
Kelton.
that well.
He's gone.
Kelton could be gone on this one. Touchdown. He timed that one perfectly. He saw it coming.
That's Aaron Kelton, and he's just as quick as Drew.
Essential for Needham to keep it away from the explosive Wellesley offense.
Hand off to McGovern. He's got some open.
Key block right there, 89.
Yep. There's a first down there by number 21, Bobby McGovern. There was a key block on that play. I think number 76 it was, Sam Terrazino. Made a very key block on that play, John. Touchdown, Needham. Number 21, Bobby McGovern. Good second effort. Able to capitalize on a costly Wellesley fumble, and the score is still Wellesley 26, Needham 7.
Coming in motion, and it's going to be a keeper, and he's looking. He hits
him.
He hits Kevin Reel, and he might go right in.
And he does. Touchdown.
Go right in.
Touchdown, Wellesley.
And a real.
Thanksgiving game between Wellesley and Needham turned out just as expected, with the once-beaten mighty Raiders dominating the 1-9 Rockets 35-7. The young Needham squad and Coach Roy Johan have learned a great deal this year, and the Needham community should see some strengthening, both literally and figuratively, of the Needham squad come next fall. Peter Strzelski reports on the action from last Friday and how things may change.
After the hoopla of the bomb scare on Thursday, the Needham-Wellesley game finally took center stage at Wellesley's Honeywell Field, Friday at 1 p.m. The Rockets held the black-clad home squad scoreless in the first quarter, but the tide turned on the first play of the second quarter.
Kahn rolling to the right side, has room down the sideline, inside the 10, the 5, touchdown!
By halftime, the game was out of reach as Wellesley's offense used trickery and some basic football techniques to lead 28-0. Coach Johan knew that the game would be an opportunity to give his underclassmen some experience. Quarterback Adam Oliveri hit several long passes, but Needham was outmatched on the scoreboard 35-7. Coach Johan plans to take some lessons home from the Wellesley program, which has been resurrected under Coach Andy Levin.
I'm fairly close to the Wellesley coach, as competitive coaches go, and I know pretty much what he does that we're not doing, and some things that we've done that he's taken to his program. I think we probably need a solid off-season program, which he has. He has a solid off-season strength conditioning program. The other area that they are very good in is in their gridiron club. They have a group of townspeople they're very active in football. That's something that I think we need to look at here. I think we really ought to at least consider the possibility of a separate football boosters or gridiron club. Other programs in the league have, and just about all of them do have, separate booster groups that work strictly for football. And I've thought about it for years, really, and I haven't had the sort of the initiative to get it started. But this year, I think I really have to step forward and do something with a football gridiron club or a touchdown club or whatever you want to call it.
So look for some changes before next year. This is Peter Strzelski reporting for the Needham Cable News.
Well, Wellesley's going to the Super Bowl, and as for Needham, they could always go to Disney World. The Raiders of Wellesley sent Needham packing for their winter vacation last Thursday with a 35-8 victory. Jack Cleary has more.
On Thanksgiving Day, Wellesley's defense, led by Terry Lassiter, came out hitting hard and got a quick interception on a beautiful diving catch. Wellesley's offense came right back on a 2-yard run by Chris Kahn. Needham tried to pull out all the tricks, but were stuffed on a fake punt by Wellesley's strong defense. Wellesley was quick to score again as Kahn scores on a 2-point conversion, and quarterback Joe Mullaney scores on a bootleg run. With Wellesley up by 3 touchdowns, Needham would not give up and made a strong drive for the end zone, capped off by a 2-yard run by Bill McGovern. But mighty Wellesley proved to be too tough as Chris Kahn went all the way for the touchdown. Final score, Wellesley 35, Needham 8.
On Turkey Day, it was undefeated Wellesley who spoiled the main course. But don't be fooled. Needham served a side dish worth tasting. Mike McSweeney has the tasty details.
A good-sized crowd turned out Thursday to watch the undefeated and #1 ranked Wellesley Raiders take on the 4-5 Needham Rockets. On what was the coldest day of the fall so far, it took both offenses a while to heat up, but it seemed like the defenses were plenty warm. Throughout the first half, both teams came up big on defense. Exhibit number 1, this sack by Joe Padroni.
Another captain. We'll pick up the rest of them after this. Heavy rush for Wellesley. See you later.
Exhibit number 2, on 4th and short, the Raiders stuffed Billy McGovern on a fake punt. And not to be outdone, Billy McGovern gets a clear alley on the linebacker blitz and tosses Joe Mullaney for a huge loss. Finally, with just under a minute to go, Wellesley offense thawed out. Noah Heller broke free on this 20-yard trot down to the Rocket 26, which led to Joe Mullaney finding Colin Capabianco in the end zone with just 19 seconds left in the half.
Heller's the only senior. Scott Wade and Dan Hopkins is the free safety roaming around back there. 3rd and 12. Mullaney takes a snap, looks to the end zone. Capabianco in the corner. Touchdown, Wellesley!
That made the score 7-0 Wellesley at halftime. In the second half, Wellesley picked up right where they left off, going 52 yards on 4 plays, capped off by a Noah Heller 2-yard touchdown run. Trailing 13-0, the Rockets tried to climb back into this one, but the Wellesley defense was just too much to handle. The Rockets' best opportunity came when Dan Hopkins got free downfield, but was just overthrown by Peter DiDomenico, who was rushed heavily all day. Wellesley's final scoring drive of the game came early in the 4th quarter and featured sophomore running back Rob Morrison, who compiled 117 yards on the ground and was capped off by a 6-yard TD strike from Mullaney to Ryan Quinn. Wellesley tried for the 2-point conversion but failed, and the final score read Wellesley 19 and Needham 0, giving Needham a final record of 4-6 on the season, and Wellesley its 2nd straight undefeated season and another trip to the Super Bowl. Reporting for the Needham Cable News, this is Mike McSweeney.
Coots in motion, hand off to Coots, he comes off the left side, not a lot of room there. Needham responds, he breaks to the free though. Chris Coots on the bad leg and all. He drives for another Raider first down. There's no flags on the play. Through. That's a Fisher fact right there for you. Right you are. When you have your safety leading in tackles, that's a bad sign. But it is now 2nd and goal. Hand off to Quigley. Quigley goes down to about the 1-yard line. And it is touchdown, Raiders 6-0. Here we go, 1st and 10 Raiders from the 14-yard line. O'Connell calling the signals, Quigley in motion. Hand off Kashala, right side. Eric Kashala bursts towards the goal line. Touchdown, Raiders. Eric Kashala bursts off the right side behind Ben Bloom. What a block by Bloom, and it is 13-0 Raiders. O'Connell calling out the signals. Handoff goes to Quigley on the right side. Matt Quigley trying to cut around the right side. Matt Quigley down to about the 5-yard lane, driving his legs, trying to get to the first down. Quigley with another strong run, and I don't know about you, but I'm guessing where they're going, and it looks like Needham's guessing where they're going. The Needham defense, with their backs against the wall, do not want to give up 6 here. They are looking now at a 3rd down and 1, and if the Rockets have ever come up big fish, it's got to be here.
Oh, definitely. You got to play for the run right here. Needham defense has to come up huge and control. The offensive line for Wellesley has done a great job thus far. Look for Needham to shoot a gap right here and try to tackle somebody in the backfield.
This is usually Harold Kashala territory, 3rd and short. O'Connell calling out the signals. He's got Coots in motion. Ball goes to Kashala on the left side. Harold Kashala bursts into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown of the game. And a very shocked Needham crowd here looking at a scoreboard that now says Wellesley 20, Needham nothing. He's got a good drop by Ellsworth. Adams pitches in the open. Adams pitches into 35, the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10. Adams pitches bursts off the left side, falling into a block by number 55, Andrew Ellsworth. And just like that, the Raiders have struck back to take a 13-12 lead. Adam Spencer, as he did against Natick, goes about how many yards?
61 yards on the play, and again sprung by that one block, and he just was off to the races. Adam has been a great scout back for Wellesley this year. This game he's carried twice for 87 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty good percentage in any league.
He gives the ball to Obang in the middle. Eric Obang bursts right up the middle, right up the gut for 15 yards. And Eric Obang with the fullback trap play. They had Dial in motion, no flags on the field. Touchdown, Obang. And the Raiders have moved out to a 20-12 lead with only 3 seconds left to go here in this 3rd period on the 114th meeting of this Needham Rocket.
20-yard line. Rockets will have 2 chances, 2 plays to get it 4 yards. They want to match the score the Raiders just put on the board. 3.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Up the middle, Riley bounces out of the first tackler, makes another move, and he's outside. 10-5, touchdown Rockets! Ian Riley hit in the backfield. Yards after contact, he got outside and he scored the Rockets' 2nd touchdown of the game. And this game is tied again. 2 guys in the backfield, Janey and Fine with Brooks. Farina in the slot to the top of your screen. They play fake it. Brooks on the quick throw to Fine. He sheds a tackle, but there's a flag on the play. And Jeff Fine is in the end zone, but there's laundry on the deck. It will be offsides on the Rockets, and that is a Wellesley touchdown. Jeff Fine's 2nd effort got through the tackle, and look at how pumped up Marcel Cooper is. Sidelines are going crazy.
Wow.
The fans are up and cheering. The Rocket fans want to stop. The Raiders fans want 3 yards. Brooks on the option, pitches to Janey. He's got the conversion. The Raiders take a 28-27 lead. The running game's been there on the right side all 2nd half, and Michael Janey puts a cap on an impressive drive, and the Raiders take the lead.
Yeah, we talked about in the first half perhaps some questionable play calls.
Right next to him, keeps himself, and he's going to walk in.
He's out, yeah.
So John Fadul puts the Raiders on the board, and they've taken the first lead of the game, 6-0, with 7:06 remaining in the 1st quarter. Fadul and the keeper again.
Straight ahead.
He's got a lot of room.
He's down.
And he powers it in for his 2nd touchdown of the game. And the Wellesley Raiders have taken a 13-0 lead with 10:48 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Casherman. Look out, blitz coming.
Carter Christensen.
They got him. They got him. Right play by Carter.
Oh,
whoa. Wow, Fadul handled it. That's Joe Gillespie. He's got it. Look at me, Joe. Give me a touchdown.
Joe Gillespie is in.
Wow. It looked like Fadul tried to throw it at the last second to one of his players. I think John would like to have that one back. Wow.
The question is, was his knee on the ground?
Well, you say that, Seamus. I thought he was down. Yeah, I did.
I did too, but you know what? The refs aren't signaling for anything, and I'm not about to tell them to.
Right.
And what a turn of events here. The Rocket defense, John, is that an interception or a fumble?
That's an interception. Yeah, it's an interception.
So John Fadul with his 3rd interception of the game.
Toss. That looks like a touchdown.
He's there.
Yeah.
So the Raiders go up 20-6 with 8:16 remaining here in the fourth quarter, and that drive was a lot of power running from the Raiders, and they really just took a commanding stance and just went straight north-south and punched it in the end zone.
And that's a big score for Wellesley. Not only.
Oh, block!
James Tosi.
James Tosi, look, could run it in. That could still go. Wow! What a break! Well, doesn't look like it's Needham's day when you see something like that happen.
They hand it off. No, excuse me, Tishman keep it. Hey, he's got room down that far sideline. He's across the 10 and dives at the goal line. Is he in? No, he is out of bounds at the 1 yard line. But what a play there by Jack Tishman. The nice fake completely got the Needham defense going one way, takes it back the other, and will be first and goal for the Raiders inside the 2 yard line. Trying to get the first score of the game as they give it again to Kazikas. He bounces outside. He's got room. He dives at the goal line, and they're going to say he's out. They're going to say he's down at about the 1 yard line. The ball came out there at the end. I guess they're going to say he was down by contact with the ball, went out of bounds. Not quite sure. A handoff to Kazikas. He's pushing ahead, and he's in for a touchdown. Looked like he may have been met at the line, but just able to push hard enough to get over the goal line. And Wellesley, with 6:40 left in the first quarter, strikes first blood at 6-0. And a pitch outside here to Kazikas. He bounces inside. He breaks off a tackle inside the 10, outside the 5, and he's in for a touchdown.
Slippery run, Keith.
Greg Kazikas slipping off 3 different Needham tacklers on that one. Fourth down at 6. Wellesley will go for it here as they pitch it. Dolan, he's got Mayota. Caught, touchdown. They go right back to Mayota. And he does get the touchdown as they run a little fullback, little wide receiver pass, I guess you could call it. Brendan Dolan hooking up with Jason Mayota. Still pretty impressive to go over 100 yards in what play. There's Kazikas, bounce outside. He's down around the goal line, and he's in for a touchdown.
Well, why not?
Kazikas.
Why not? That kid, he deserved that one.
Pushing ahead and finds the end zone, and with 13 seconds to go in the half, it is now 26-7.
Make a cut and get close to first down.
And a little inside handoff there. Kazikas jumps over a man, and he's in for a touchdown.
Oh, my goodness.
Greg Kazikas again, just not able to be taken down by that Needham defense, and he gets into the house, and it is 33-7, Raiders on top. After the pass interference.
Sklar.
And Sklar up the middle. He's in for a touchdown. So Needham finally able to put one on the board with 6:58 left to go in regulation. Makes it 34-13. Yep. Wellesley will take the knee, and they will rush the field as for the first time since 2013, the Wellesley Raiders are victorious on Thanksgiving Day as they win this one convincingly 34-14. Riley in the backfield, Ogletree to throw, and he completes it to Andre, and he can just walk in for the end zone. Touchdown Needham. Ogletree hooking up with Sliney, and that one's blocked. And they can return it. That's a nice block, and that might be 2 points.
We'll see if
there he goes. They're going to try to catch him.
And they're not
going to chase. No, they're not going to catch him. It is going to be 2 points for Wellesley. Wow.
You don't
what
see
a
that
turn
a lot.
of event. No, what a turn of events right there. See 2 receivers split out wide to the near side. Ogletree back to throw. He's taking the pressure. He throws it. It's picked off.
And that's
picked off, and that could be a pick 6. Diving up the goal line. It's in for a touchdown. Deontay Moore came right over the middle, picked it off, and just able to stretch that ball over the pylon for a pick 6. And just like that, with 35 seconds to go in the first quarter, Wellesley with its first lead of the day, 8-6.
Came out overnight.
As a pitch outside here to White. He's got room to run, and he is in for a touchdown.
It was really weird. We were in a great position to see that. It looked like it was completely blocked off. The defense is right there, and then all of a sudden,
this big hole opened up, and Shiloh White gets into the end zone from 5 yards out, and Wellesley again taking advantage of the big play from Mayona to Callahan, and with 7:10 to go in the second quarter, it is now a 14-6 Raider lead, and they will attempt the extra point. Third down 10 from the 40. Ogletree back to throw. He's looking deep, fires downfield, and is caught by Andre, and he is in for a touchdown.
Like I said.
You called it, Carl, there. They go deep. It's Andre, got by the defender, made the catch, and then had nothing but green in front of him. And with 18 seconds to go in the opening half, a big score for the Rockets there as they make it a 15-12 game.
And calf muscles. I'm not quite sure what else he's done.
Back to throw is Ogletree. He's going deep. He's got Smith out there. Smith makes the catch, and stays in bounds. He's got one man to beat, and he is in for a touchdown.
That was an interesting. It was not a great throw. He threw it a little bit too high. The Wellesley defender fell down after a little bit of contact between him and Smith. Smith caught the ball and just ran it on in.
And we have a late flag on the play, maybe a little bit of
excessive
celebration against the Rockets. But still, you're right, and Smith, good job there. Biggest play of the game so far. Mayona rolling. He's looking long. It's Kai, and it's in for a touchdown! Deontay Moore on the reception as Mayona had just enough time, threw it back, and Moore able to just stretch that ball over the goal line for a touchdown. And just like that, with 9:18 to go in the fourth quarter, Wellesley back on top here. It's 21-20. As Mayona takes the snap, and he is in for the two-point conversion.
You can kind of tell they were going to run that one. They had three wide receivers way split out, and another one wide here on the right-hand side.
So Sylvia back to throw, throws it, it's complete to Smith. Now they got a lateral. Andre, and he gets knocked out. Now the game is over.
Are we sure? No more timeouts left?
Wellesley is storming the field as for the second year in a row, the Wellesley Raiders take home a thrilling Thanksgiving victory over the Needham Rockets.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jared Parker. I'm the president of the Wellesley Historical Society. I would like to sit here and say that I could have worn those jackets. I did, I think, in 1986, but not for long. So kudos to Tracy and Levin, who were there when I was around. Thank you to Wellesley Media for taking care of this, Wellesley Gridiron, Library for hosting us, and it's my privilege to turn this over to Jesse Davis, who's going to take us through the next event.
Great. I just want to start by thanking everybody for being here tonight. People from the community, our players, Coach Sanchez and the cheerleaders. Thank you for attending. Thank you to the Historical Society for putting this on, and the Wellesley Free Library. To start, I'm just going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves and talk about their relationship to Wellesley High School football and the game. I want to start with you, Jeff.
Sure. Jeff Renzella, lifelong Wellesley resident, work in town, live in town. Went to Wellesley High, graduated in 1990. Coach Lev was my coach. We had a great senior season, except for one loss to Walpole that still haunts us now, and I think that's what's special about Wellesley football. 30-something years later, you still think about that. But I started coaching 5 years ago when my oldest is now a senior on the football team. Was in 8th grade, so I've been with the team ever since. And Wellesley football means everything to me. Listen, I love football, I love coaching, I love giving back to the community, and to have the chance to mentor some young men and help them along the way in their path is great, and I kind of relish it, and I look forward to doing it in the future.
Great. Coach Love.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andy Levin, former math teacher, assistant principal, athletic director, and head football coach, Wellesley High School, from 1984 to 2001. Currently living in Wellesley, have since 1996. My daughter graduated from Wellesley High School with me as her assistant principal, which, as you guys can well imagine, was not a lot of fun for my daughter. Had Mrs. Goddard for English. I have 3 grandkids who are at my house right now waiting for me to get home. And that's basically it. I've been involved with Wellesley football since I started in Wellesley in 1974, and have been attached to the Wellesley-Needham game ever since then. So it's a pleasure for me to be here and hopefully impart some old-time knowledge for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Marianne?
Mrs. McDonald doesn't stop talking. But I want you to know that I'm a lifelong resident. My family has 4 generations here. They all played football. My father graduated in the late 1930s. He wore one of those leather helmets over there. He broke just about anything you can imagine, but darn, he worked hard. Very proud of football. He always has been. So I never played football, nor was I a cheerleader. I wasn't a twirler. Darn, I was just in the pep club, which is very exciting. Yeah, it was not a big deal. And I've worked in the athletic office for 26 years. I could not be prouder. Very proud of all our athletes. It is a pleasure to work my ideal job. I love all our coaches, always have, and that's it. Come and see me in my office.
Liam?
Liam Sullivan. I teach 7th grade math now at the middle school. I went to Wellesley High School from 2006 through 2009. I pretty much started coaching as soon as I possibly could because I didn't have the opportunity to play at college. I went to Babson, and I just wanted to keep coaching, so I just said, Coach Davis, you got to find something for me to do. So I've coached the 8th grade, youth level, freshman team, JV team, and now the gentleman in front of me here. I'm up with the big club, as I like to call it. But football's pretty much been my entire life, and I think that it's safe to say that I wouldn't really want to coach anywhere else in the world just because the group in front of me is what brings me back. And every year they change and new ones come in, but they make it easy to go out to practice when it's 10 degrees out on a random Thursday in November, but they make it all worth it.
That's great. Coach Trace?
Bill Tracy, graduated from Wellesley High School, class of 1975. Was hired by the town of Wellesley to teach industrial arts in 1981. I also was hired to be a freshman football coach, started coaching football at Wellesley High School in 1981. Have been coaching high school football since. This is my 38th year of coaching high school football.
That's great. Coach Trace, we're going to start with you. Is there a game that stands out the most over your time with Wellesley High School? A Thanksgiving Day game?
Yeah. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that when people ask that question, I always think of the losses first. So for me, the game that stands out the most was the one that I played in 1975. Our game was actually snowed out. There was 5 inches of snow on the ground, and the game was moved back until Saturday. We played Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hurt my knee early in that game and was taken out. Wellesley had their way with us. We were a very poor football team that year, and Needham was very good. They thought they were doing me a favor by inserting me as a senior in the waning minutes of the game, and my last memory is being double teamed and blocked to the back of the end zone, and we lost that game 27-0.
Hey, Liam. Maybe you have a more positive experience for us?
Yeah, I think mine's a little bit better than that. So I was actually on the team that won in 2009. I think my favorite part about that game was just that the year before we were 2-9, and we were, I think the best way to put it would be an embarrassment. And my class of seniors, we just knew that we didn't want to do that ever again. To lose 9 games out of 11 is not something that you ever want to do. So we were down 27-20 with about 4 minutes left, drove about 80 yards to score with a minute and 35 seconds left. And I think my favorite part of the play, hands down, was we called the timeout. We kind of all knew that we were going to go for 2, but Coach Tracy looked at us because he was our head coach and just said, you boys all have one more good football play. And then at that point, we called trips left, speed right on first down, but it didn't really matter. We were going to get in, and we did, and we won. So that was a little bit better than Coach T's, I think.
Mrs. Mack, is there a game that stands out to you?
Well, it's the 2009 football game, because I was given a football helmet by one of the players, Brendan Brooks. And if you go upstairs outside the gym, you'll see a picture of the team with the score and the football helmet. and it means a lot to me. And yes, Liam, I loved you too. It was very exciting. It was an exciting game, absolutely.
Mr. Brown's going to want that helmet back.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell him.
Coach Lev, is there a game that stands out for you?
Well, I was a head coach in 18 of them, and an assistant in a dozen or so others. And as you can well imagine, I've been asked that question dozens and dozens of times. And I have to say, honestly, there are two. And one of them is 1991, just because of what happened. And I know Coach Davis is going to, ask me to talk about that a little bit later, so I'll wait and explain what happened in 91. But the other one was 2001, which was my last one. And I always think of it because it was my last one, and I knew it was going to be my last one going in. We had won 3 in a row. We won that day 20-12. It was 2001. So it was my last football game and my last Wellesley-Needham game as a head football coach. So 91, 2001, and we'll get back to 91, I guess, a little bit later. That's it. Thank you.
I was going to talk about my senior year, the last game, 1989. It was great. We came off a crushing defeat against Walpole, but came back together as a team and was able to beat Needham that day, 35-0. It was great, but now that I'm a father and I have the ability to coach, my oldest son is a senior this year, and I have another son who's a freshman. That gives me a lot more enjoyment, a lot more joy watching them play and have the ability to be on the field to watch them and be in a coaching capacity and see them play in a Thanksgiving game, because it truly is a tradition like on other. You've been talking to your friends and your teammates 30, 40 years later, and you still remember plays like they happened yesterday. And for them to have that experience and for me just to kind of be in the background now and watch it, that's what's most important to me.
Coach Trace, is there a player or student performance that stands out over the years?
Sure. The one that comes to mind was a boy named Peter Jennings. In 2006, we had a very good football team. Our captain was Connor Green. He was a top football player, went on to play and star at Middlebury College. In the second and last game of the season, he received a concussion. He was out, and Connor was the heart and soul of our team. And so we inserted Peter Jennings, who was a junior, and he was a backup at that point. And he was the person who was going to be the focal point of our team going into Thanksgiving. That game was at Needham, and I would say it's in a very short list of the most miserable condition games that I ever participated in. 35 degrees, pouring rain. It was awful. At that time, Needham did not have AstroTurf. The field was a complete mess. But Peter stepped up big, as we often call players to do. One player goes down, the next person steps in. He had a tremendous game, rushing, catching passes, scored a touchdown, and we were underdogs in that game, but we won that game 14-7.
Coach Love, is there a player performance that stands out?
Yeah, that's an easy one, actually. You guys, the players here, I'm sure know the name Jordan Sachs. Well, Jordan Sachs played for me. And 92 was his junior year, 93 was his senior year. Actually, I'm sorry, 92 was his senior year. And we knew we were going to the Super Bowl, and the game was at Needham. And I heard Coach Trace talk about weather. Coach Trace will remember this game as well. Aside from the Super Bowl game that year, the 92 Needham-Wellesley game was the most miserable weather I ever coached in. It was driving rain. The game was at Needham. There was a grass field. The mud, the last 10 yards into one of the end zone was just complete mud. And Jordan's performance that day is one that I'll never forget. I think he had 2 interceptions, 10 or 12 tackles, caught 5 or 6 footballs, passes, and that's an easy one for me, having coached Jordan. Jordan passed away that summer. So yeah, it was the 92 Wellesley-Needham game, which we won. I believe the final score was 14-6, something like that.
Mrs. Mack, is there something specific or personal to you that's special about the Thanksgiving Day game?
It's the tradition, and people don't understand it. It's long going. You look up, it doesn't matter what game you look up. When my father played, he lost his Thanksgiving Day game, and his senior year was not happy. But it's that power of the game. It's going out there and representing Wellesley High School. It just lives with you forever and ever. You never forget it. I remember when I graduated from Wellesley High School a long time ago. I was really young. And it was, you had to go out there. You had to cheer. It was your team, and you were darn proud of it. And I love to see it, that the tradition is continuing, because it really means a lot. It holds our community together. Boy, 100%.
Liam, what about the game is personally special for you?
I think the cool thing for me is just my family. My dad and my mom still live at 418 Washington Street. It's the house that he grew up in. He bought it from his parents when he got married. And I was actually, in 2009, the 11th Sullivan to play Needham on Thanksgiving, which as of right now is looking like to be the 11th and last, but you never say never. But just the fact that, I mean, I never even really knew that, but going into that game, my uncle Tom up in Maine actually wrote an article about it for the Townsman, and he went back and looked at all the way back to 1917, where some relative of mine played center, and I was like the sixth Sullivan to play center, and it was just really, really cool. And so I think the fact that I can say that I was the 11th member of my family to play in one football game is pretty awesome.
Jeff, a lot has changed over the years that this game has been played. Since your involvement with the program, anything specific, any traditions that have sort of changed or evolved over the years?
Yeah, it's been a tough one. Tradition that's changed. You know, I don't know if it's changed for the better. I think as a society, as we kind of get lost in our phones and our busyness of our everyday life, I see less community, and that's always something you can count on Thanksgiving. Is everyone coming out to the game? You know, we look at some of those old games in the video there, and you see how many people were there. I feel like sometimes now, you know, everyone's hustling and bustling, cooking on Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to make the game, and they don't. And I kind of miss that a little bit. So hopefully having programs like this, bringing people together, talking about the history, the tradition, because it really is. It's the tradition of the game, and it's powerful. It's far-reaching. The Wellesley-Needham score is always like on the USA Today. You'll see it all over the internet. You know, it's a big game. It's all over the news. So I kind of like to see that go back to the old time machine a little bit more and have, you know, more people come out to the game, you know, Wellesley-Needham, whatever it is, enjoy the day with your family. You know, because I remember as a kid, like, yeah, it's the first thing you want to do. You get up in the morning, you run out to the game, you're in the end zone playing tackle football. You probably miss half the game because you're a little kid killing each other in the end zone. And then you go home and you eat, and it's great. It's a great tradition. So it's something I want to, you know, ensure we continue it. And a program like this, I think, goes a long way to kind of keep that tradition strong in the community.
That's great. Coach Lev, I'd like to ask you the same question. Something that you've seen that's changed with Thanksgiving and maybe just a tradition with the program over the years?
Yeah. I think the tradition of Thanksgiving, of Wellesley-Needham Thanksgiving, is still strong and will always be strong because of the nature of the history behind it, and all the players that come back and reinforce for the seniors and the underclassmen every year the importance and tradition behind the game. The thing for me that disappoints me a little bit about high school football now is the new playoff system, to be honest with you. When I coached, and with Coach Trace and coach these guys, our number one goal was always to win the Bay State Conference. That meant everything. The Bay State Conference was a 12-team league, and you played everybody in the league once. It was the only sport that did that. And getting that banner in the gym that would say Bay State Conference champions or Bay State Herget champions meant everything to us. Now, going along with that, I guess that's easy for me to say because back then, league champions went to the Super Bowl. So I guess it's easy for me to say that, knowing if you won the league, you were going to play the next week in the biggest game of your life. But I can honestly say that if somebody back then asked me, what's your number one goal, it would always be to win the Bay State League. And I think now with the new playoff system, the integrity of the league and the meaningfulness of winning the Bay State Conference, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, Coach, you could tell me, I think has been diminished. And also, I think it's a shame that it's very possible and has happened many times that a team could play their Thanksgiving Day rival more than just on Thanksgiving Day. I know there were teams last year that played their Thanksgiving Day rival twice, and I believe there was a team recently that played them 3 times. So imagine if and last year, if Wellesley had won their first playoff game, I'm pretty sure I'm correct, you would have played Needham the next week. And to me, there's just something about that that isn't right, that Wellesley and Needham should only play on Thanksgiving Day and not play in a playoff. And then imagine if you played Needham in week 8 and then all of a sudden you're playing again on Thanksgiving Day. Just something about that doesn't sit right with me. So that's my gripe.
Mrs. Mack, is there a tradition that you've seen change over your time at Wellesley High School?
Yes, there was a tradition, and I don't know how long ago that it stopped. Just before the Thanksgiving Day football game, there was a mass celebrated at St. Paul's, only because it was the church closest to the high school. And all the football players would come. It would be a family mass. They'd wear their football uniforms, and the little kids were sitting there in awe, watching everyone walk down the aisle. It didn't matter what religion you were. It did not matter. And after going through that for the long period of time, it stopped. I think it was because our society, things are changing. So they threw it out to the community. Okay, any church that wants to do this, or synagogue, doesn't matter, let's do it. No one responded. So it was just, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot to see all of you together just get a blessing and good luck in the football game, which was good because you won most of them. But that was sad to see it stop.
Coach Love, we're gonna finish the panel with you, and I was hoping you could tell us the events that led up to the 91 Thanksgiving Day game.
Okay, yeah. So in 91, we were 8-1. We had lost to Walpole in week 9, very much like, sort of eeringly like the 89 team. And we knew at that point the winner of that Wellesley-Walpole game would play at Schaefer Stadium in the Super Bowl, and we lost to Walpole, and we were playing Needham to end the season. And I got to Wellesley High School that morning around 7 o'clock and was in the locker room getting ready, and our athletic director, who at that time was Ted Tripp, came in and said to me, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said, "They think there's a bomb on the field." And I looked at him. I can't really repeat what I actually said to him right here, but it was basically, "You got to be kidding me. You're kidding me, right?" He said, "No." So what happened, I'll try and make the story as short as I can. When the custodians arrived to set up the field, they saw wires leading from the 50-yard line over to the Needham sideline. And after more examination, it was pretty clear that something wasn't right. They called the Wellesley police. The Wellesley police also thought that something was definitely not right. And they called the Mass State Police Bomb Squad. So the Mass State Police Bomb Squad comes in. In the meantime, we called Needham and told them to stay over there, not to come over. And we were in our locker room, and they examined it. They weren't sure what to do. So it was pretty clear the game wasn't going to be played. So Ted said to me, "Why don't you take your guys over onto the field over the aqueduct on Route 16 and just, keep them occupied, a little pregame, whatever." So we went over there, and right in the middle of our practice, there was an enormous explosion from over on the field. Enormous. Smoke came up off the field, and you can imagine our reaction was like, you know. Anyway, so it turned out what happened was they weren't sure what to do with it, so they blew it up. They placed a charge around it because they weren't sure what it was, and the state police ignited the charge and blew up the device. The device was planted by 3 Needham High sophomores the night before the game, and it turned out that it was a box operated electronically remotely that would open up at halftime and a rocket would shoot out of it, similar to the old MIT pranks for some of the old timers here at the Harvard-Yale game. Seemingly harmless, I'm sure, from 16-year-old sophomore point of view, but it turned out to be not really that harmless. So we played the game on Friday. I think you saw it on the video there. And before either team was allowed to go on the field, the state police brought in bomb-sniffing dogs and went through the whole stadium before we could play the game. Our custodians did an incredible job of filling this enormous crater that was on the 50-yard line at Honeywell Field. Amazing. I don't know how they did it in 24 hours. So that's the 91 story, which, as I mentioned before, you just can't, it was an incredible experience. It made national news. Every TV station with their towers were at Wellesley High School. It was on national news. My phone didn't stop ringing for a week. And I'll just finish the story by a lot of times people ask me, well, what happened to the kids? You know, I'm sure these guys want to know what happened to those Needham guys. It was pretty easy for Needham High School to figure out who did it because they went to their AP chemistry and physics classes and asked the teacher who their 3 smartest kids were. And having been an assistant principal myself, I'm sure it was pretty easy for that AP to look at those guys and say, okay, cut the crap, tell me exactly what happened. They came clean. And of course, they were suspended from school, and there were school consequences for what happened. But the incredible part of what happened was that each athletic director was asked to submit the amount of revenue that each school lost from playing the game on Friday rather than Saturday. And it was an enormous amount of money. Mrs. McDonald can tell you, I can tell you from being the AD, that single game is you count on the revenue for that game to do a lot of other things in the athletic department. And if it rains or it snows and the gate's not what you budget it to be, it's a big deal. Well, obviously, the game was played on Friday. The gate was maybe a quarter of what it would have been. And each athletic director submitted an estimated loss of revenue, and those 3 kids' families had to pay that money and make up that money, and it was thousands of dollars, thousands. So that's the 91 bomb game story.
Don't get any ideas.
I'm going to open up. Go ahead.
Coach Trace, you anything I'm forgetting?
Nope, that was pretty good.
So my picture was on the front page of the Boston Globe the next day, looking like this with the caption, Coach Levin upset, can't play game because bomb on the field.
I'm going to open up now for Q&A from the crowd if anybody has any questions or anything they'd like to ask the panel. Sir?
This is not a question. It's a story that's going to take me about a minute and a half to tell. I started out in New Jersey, and when I was 9, my dad's job went to Toronto, and when I was 17, it came to Boston. When we came to Boston, we moved into Wellesley. I had 1 year of high school left. In August of '58, I came to town. In high school in Ontario, I had run the down box. So I went to the coach, August of '58, and said, can I do the down box? He said, no, but you can do the 10-yard chain at away games if you want. Fine. I did the 10-yard chain at all the away games. I had no idea the last game of the season was in Needham. I had no idea what that game meant to anybody. I'd only been in town 3 months. The guy who'd been doing the 10-yard chain for home games said, "No freaking way you're doing that game, I am." So Coach John Sertus let me sit on the bench for that game.
That's a great story. Thank you. Great.
I have a question for Coach Sull. I was wondering if you could pick, if you could pick one person in your entire football career who's been the biggest inspiration to you, who has it been?
Very good. I have to go with Coach Davis. Coach T's definitely up there, but as my position coach when I was in high school, was never really a great athlete. I was just a kid that kind of outworked people, and that's how I got the job done. I was mad at Coach Davis my junior year because I felt that I didn't play as much as I should have. But he and I have always had such a good relationship that, I mean, he was honest, and we kind of had a heart-to-heart after my junior year. And him just always telling me the truth. It was tough at the time, but you grew up and you look back and you realize that it was for the best. So I'd have to say Coach Davis.
Any other questions from the crowd?
So besides Coach Tracy's experience with Needham, is there a particular game or player from Needham that you remember fondly? You can say no.
Well, certainly I have a huge amount of respect for a player from Needham named George Hofmeister. He played 3 years there. He was a captain his senior year. He was a tremendous player. Went on to play at Yale? Dartmouth. He was just a tremendous high school football player. And so you had to respect him because of his ability. I ended up meeting him at Rotary Club dinners, and he's a class young man, fine young man.
I would second that. That would be the name that I would talk about from Needham. I think George was his father. I forget what the kid's name actually was, but Greg Hofmeister.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
I would second that. He was a great player and a great guy.
Yeah, I would say the coaching staff as well from Needham. Dave Duffy, who retired, was actually back coaching with Needham. Both coaching staffs have tremendous amount of respect for each other. And Coach Kopsko now played against me in '98. We have a lot of respect for them. A lot of competitive feelings from both sides, but a ton of respect for both programs. Ms. Goddard.
My name is Jeannie Goddard. I used to teach English at the high school almost 40 years, and I grew up in Needham and have been going to the Thanksgiving game since I was 5 years old, so that's 70 years, because I'm 75. And I wanted to put in Vic Gatto's name as a really stellar Needham guy, and he went on to play at Harvard, and he was the captain for the 29-29 tie with Yale, which is one of the most famous local games.
1968 or 9?
Yeah.
69.
No, 68, yeah, 1968. And also, just, I don't know if you guys know that a Needham High graduate football player is the kicker, place kicker for
Steve Hauschka.
And what's his name?
Stephen Hauschka.
Bruce Scott, what's his name?
Stephen Hauschka.
Hauschka, that's it, yeah. And he's a rocket, yeah.
Any other questions? Sir?
Besides Lorenzo Fernoni, any other Wellesley High School players that went to the NFL?
Ray Ilg, 1963.
Thomas Claiborne. When did Thomas graduate?
2005.
2005. He played for Tampa. Then he played in the Arena League.
And did Thomas Claiborne play?
Yep, that's what I would
Did you just say? I'm sorry.
And a guy who Coach Renzella played with And on the 89 team, Torrey White was the last guy cut. I believe it was the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure. And another guy you might be interested in by the name of Ben Bloom, who played for me, is now the linebackers coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe are the Petsings here? Yep. And both Dean and Drew are in coaching. One for the Minnesota Vikings, and one, Mr. Petsing, UMaine? Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Yeah.
Coach Hayden.
Oh, and Michael Hayde, who played on the 85 team that broke the Natick winning streak. I don't know if these guys even know that story, but he went to Florida and was the head football coach at Ford Meade High School in Florida, won 2 state championships, which is a big deal in Florida, as you can well imagine, and is now the running backs coach for Warner University down right outside of Orlando, and who I keep in touch with all the time. Another Wellesley High School football alum who I know Coach Davis has a great deal of respect for, Michael Hester, who also was on the 85 team, graduated in 86, was in the Army, became a colonel in the United States Army, and was the commander at Fort Bragg, and he just retired. And he comes back to see me every year right before Christmas and comes over to say hi to my wife and myself. And his mom and dad still live in town, right on the street that the middle school is on.
Any final questions? Sir?
We went to the Thanksgiving game a few years ago at Fenway that some of you might have gone to, and was completely unprepared for the size of the crowd that turned up for that. Is there a story behind that, or is that going to happen again, or did you know how big that was going to be?
We did know how big that was going to be. That has sort of a different memory for me because we lost that game. So every time I go back to Fenway, I'm reminded of that. They started playing college. The reason that we got invited there is because they were playing BC Notre Dame. And one of our players, former player, John Fadul, was actually started quarterback for that team, the BC team that year. But there's not a plan as of right now to go back there and play. We'd like to play at home. Did everybody
get a ticket?
Did everybody get a ticket? We're going to do a drawing right now. Our players are, you guys got tickets too? That's shameful. All right, so does anybody need a ticket? We can hand them out before we draw one.
What is it in Beetlejuice when he takes the guy's ticket?
All right, we're going to draw the... Oh, hold on. Mrs. Joseph. Yes, and I will 100% wait if Mrs. Joseph says wait.
Mix them up, just shake them up. This is legit.
All right, this is legit. Here we go.
Tickets.
Winning ticket number is 699327. 69.
The check's in the mail.
Yes, thank you. All right, I want to thank the historical. That the players introduce themselves. Absolutely. Stand up and turn around. Yep, one by one. Nato, why don't you start?
I'm Matthew Nato, senior, and nose tackle and offensive tackle.
These are all our seniors.
I'm taking the audio. Quarterback.
Henry Gear, slot receiver.
Corner. Need to take them, but not bad.
Josh Gill. Go.
Ben Bundy, solid receiver. Joshua Ortega, running back, outside linebacker.
Patrick Makonga, D-line and O-line.
Kevin Canada, kicker.
Griff Renzoa, center, inside linebacker.
Will Fletcher, inside linebacker, offensive tackle.
Matt Morris, offensive guard. Matt Siegel, running back.
Grady Cook, kind of like a special teams guy.
Chris Altoff, strong safety and slot receiver.
Jonathan Hahn, pitcher.
Brady, stand up and introduce yourself. There you go. Can I ask the cheerleaders who showed up tonight to introduce themselves too?
I'm Kendra Kleintop. I'm a captain. I'm also a captain.
Great, thank you so much, ladies. Okay, so again, I just want to thank everybody for coming. We hope we see you on Thanksgiving at home this year. Looking to be a good game. We are healthy. It's been a good season for us. We're looking to finish it on a good note. So thank you very much to everybody tonight.